Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to Game Day Live. Our match day coverage has started from now all the way through until kickoff. We're going to be live from 9 a.m. all the way through to 8 p.m. for kickoff, and then 2 hours for the game, and then the full-time view as well, and a marathon sprint today for the blockbuster at Old Trafford in the FA Cup 4th round.
Why are you lying, Flex? Why are we starting Fridays with a lie? You know what I mean? We get enough stick. You know, the amount of times I go live 2 hours before kickoff and they go, there's always one. You know the games doesn't kick off for 2 hours, right? Yes. It's like, you know, when you're like the first into Old Trafford because the doors open, it's an hour and a half before kickoff? It's an hour and a half before kickoff. It was two hours before kickoff. And sometimes if you're like the first in and you get in there and you just watch as the Old Trafford's still empty, you just watch the pitch, see the sprinklers going off, and you get some people looking at you going, do you realise it's a while? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just thought in my head, imagine we was live from now all the way through to like the actual game, just for no reason. Like, you know, I just thought I'd say it, see what people say. And it hasn't gone down that well. You know what I mean? No. If you did a 24-hour watch along, the views would not be viewing. Yeah, people would just be like, bloody hell. Can't hack that. But no, I'm only joking. But I'm not joking that it's match day though, because it is match day. Shout out to each and every single one of you. Smash a like on the video and subscribe to United View if you haven't done so already. We always know what it's about when it comes to the the upkeeping. You know what I'm saying? In terms of get your shoes off, smash a like, then enjoy the video. We always get distracted. It's not easy. But 14 likes to go to 100 already. So big up to you. Niall says Flex already on a mad one. I don't know. Maybe it's just Friday, weekend's coming. I'm kind of happy. Sometimes people moan Friday night. Oh, I know it's difficult if you've got work and it's the different, got to pick up the kids. You've got to take them there. I know that's tough, but on a person, I'm just like, for me, in my
get out of the
routine,
way.
I'm like, you know what? Friday, I'll leave about 3-4, get up there, get the game out of the way, get the game done, get into the 4th round, and then you can have your weekend. So maybe I'm a little bit more, full of beans because of that. Maybe. I don't know why. But we have got a big show because we've got a lot to talk about, because I thought Ruben Amorim's press conference was very interesting yesterday. Sometimes it can be not mundane, but, it's fairly routine, no real gems in there, nothing to really get us teeth stuck into. This one, I think the opposite. He said some really interesting stuff about being in control, his decisions, talking about young Aiden Heaven and Dorgu, about how well they're going to fit and where they're ready to go. Spoke a little bit about Rashford. Why are you speaking about Rashford? He's gone. Just saying, Ruben had some stuff to say. Spoke about the transfer policy. A lot of stuff. So we're going to go through all of that and have a good show as usual. But big up to everybody in the chat as usual. Tabarez straight away says, turnstile queues at Old Trafford since job cuts are abysmal. Actually, yeah, because I went to my seat for the first time in a few weeks, actually. The last game, and I was like, bloody hell. Normally I just chill out and just, I get in there just as the players are walking out kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I tried to do that this time. I was like, shit, I'm not going to make it. This queues are long. So yeah, you're right there, Tabarez. But yes, let's get straight into the news, Owen, because there's a lot of it today.
There is a lot of it today. Obviously, Ruben Amorim had his press conference prior to the FA Cup 4th round tie against Leicester today. And that meant that both parts of his press conference came out in the same day. Of course, sometimes you wait like a few days for the embargo part to come out. But the embargo part came out last night, as well as obviously the bit that was live. And he spoke about risks and the backing of the board, Flex. He says, I feel the support of the board. If you're asking about that, I'm not the slightest bit worried about that. It's just the pain of losing. That's the hardest thing to cope. He then carried on by saying, I'm not naive. This is a sport of results, and we are in a difficult situation. But since day one, I take these risks because in the end, I think they're going to pay off. So he says, Flex, look, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I've got the backing of the board, but you wouldn't expect him to say any less. I'm terrified. The next game's probably going to be my last. He's not going to say anything like that. But I suppose it's one of those ones, isn't it? Because he's mentioned this many a time, hasn't he? Going, look, it's going to be some short-term pain, hopefully for long-term gain. I'm prepared to take these risks. I'm not going to change as well. But he does acknowledge, and he's acknowledged it before, it is a results-based business, and you have to get the results. I forget the phrase he used before, but it was like you have to get the results to kind of bide yourself time effectively, which is maybe, I guess, not what we're getting in terms of results.
He's not naive. He understands that. This is a problem.
Yeah, he's not naive of that. But do you think a case why he feels completely secure in his job is because he knows?
Oh, sorry, I've got the community's communitying right now. The community's communitying. Shout out All Elite. Shout out Daniel Luciano. Listen, you look incredible. They're talking about jawlines. They're saying,
Yeah,
chiseled. They're saying Calvin Klein's rollout 2025. And
yeah,
listen, this is your inspo right here. I know.
yeah,
Listen, I will say this because Owen doesn't do the whole look at me thing. I'm like
yeah,
that too. Don't like all the press. But he started his optimum journey. He's keeping healthy. He's doing his thing. Yeah.
yeah,
And you don't need to come on and blast and say, I've done. Look at him. So I'm just saying, big up to Owen. Everyone get your applauses in the chat because that jawline is jawlining. Yeah. And they're talking about Owen UK next top model. Zerkamp says
wow.
So just big up to you on a figure because it's not easy. It takes discipline. It takes a lot of stuff. But big up, man. Big up.
Yeah,
and the community started it. They just
main event of WrestleMania.
Main event.
That's what it's got to be.
Well, KG's was Marvel ready. You're WrestleMania ready.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to be. Me and KG, myself, push each other all the time.
Yeah,
what it's all about.
Good.
Yeah,
that's what we want to see, man. We're looking after ourselves, and everybody's feeling good and looking good, and you know what I'm saying. That's the sort of energy we want to promote amongst the community as well.
The maddest one is there was a thing on UV Clips. I think it was like a couple of days ago, and it was when like Ineos had first come in, and we were doing a full view. And when you see from the shows like 6 months ago or a year ago, you do go bloody hell. And that was for a lot of us actually. KG and myself, totally different. Totally different. It is crazy stuff. But yes,
so one thing about doing this, like we're doing content and stuff, it's easy to track something like that in like when you don't want to. Let me just go back to when Oli got sacked. Let's have a look at what was going on. Then you go, bloody hell, was that what I was wearing? Oh, bloody hell, is that how I looked?
Yeah, exactly.
It changes, and we've been doing this years now. So it's a good way of checking. But no, give big up to the community because, like I said, that shows the community we've got. We all know each other here. If someone's having a tough day or feels a bit down or they're under the weather, they invite the community. They see us every single day. They know. And especially when something else is positive, you're beaming, you're looking good, the community knows. So someone said Flex is the mate we all need. You lot are the community we all need because you lot are the ones that keep us going. But back to the football.
And it did start with the Optimum Journey as well. I wasn't officially on it like Flex and KG, but it did start with that. So again, recommend. I am a living example, as is KG.
And as you can see, this show is it's not sponsored by. You don't have to talk about it. I wasn't
even part of it. Like I genuinely wasn't even part of it. So yeah. Big up to everybody.
Back to Ruben Amorim. Right, you were saying yes.
His job is safe. His job is safe. Do you think he knows his job is safe because they can't get rid of him? So he's like, I know, I'm here. I'm now here for a while.
I can talk big talk.
I know the situation financially. Eric's still on the payroll. I'm not going to go. So I've got this I can kind of do what I want, which is, I suppose, to an extent, is a good thing because he doesn't have to bend the knee. He doesn't have to, worry about changing his ideas or his plans. And to be honest, I think he's kind of past that now. I think he's kind of past that point. When I have a couple of maybe like 6 weeks ago, and it was like, some people were going, even remember you said against Newcastle, you might have to change. It's kind of, I saw Gary Neville talk about this the other day going, it's beyond that. It's beyond the point of no return because he's not going to change. We know he's not going to change now.
Yeah.
So he's comfortable in that regard. He knows he's going to be here for a while, at least. So maybe that's why he's prepared to take the risk. Seasons are right off domestically. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think so. He's saying he's not naive. He understands that we need results because we do. And the outside of, the fan base will look at this guy and say, clown, what do they call him? Villas-Boas 2.0 and all of this stuff, Montclair, something. They said something else.
Montclair Moyes.
So, the memes will happen and stuff is exactly same thing that's happened to other clubs when they go through the beginning bit of losing. But he backs himself and he says, like, I'm doing this because I think we'll be better in the long run. Like, I know we'll be better in the long run. So we have to get beside that. We know that it's going to be more pain. We're going to lose more matches. We're going to see some type of football where sometimes you want to stick pins in your eyes. But it's hopefully in the image of, get to the summer, you start undoing it and you start to improve. I think the real look, like anything with fans, obviously we say rebuild and patient. The real big scrutiny will come if you have a pre-season, you buy players like some new ones and that get rid of. We've already been through players that will definitely leave. You get some players in the summer. You give it 2 to 3 months of the new season. If this is still happening, people will not say get him out or anything like that, but people go, oh, I thought there'd be. Now I really thought there would be improvement by now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still in that period where you can't come on. It's mid-season. It's chaos. It's this. It's that.
Yeah.
There's players there, and he's basically saying, yeah, I'm in control as well. You know what I mean? Because he spoke about transfers, didn't he?
Yes, he did talk about transfers, and this was quite interesting, actually. Some of the things he's saying. So, if you're saying about, why don't we do more? Why don't we do more? Well, he acknowledged that it's going to be difficult, but he also acknowledged that he's got the final say, Flex. He said, like I said in the first day, every player that came into the team, I have the final word. That was really clear in the beginning. It's also really clear, but we do it all together. So I don't just point out just the names. He carried on by sort of explaining the process. He says, I define with Jason the profile, and then we have a scouting department that makes ideas or does the job. And that is the most important thing because everybody has to decide. It's not just one thing that the coach today decides one thing, and then we change everything, and then it's a completely different profile. We tried to find the right players with the physicality for this league, young players, hungry players. And then he also said sometimes when it comes to why don't we spend a lot, sometimes we cannot spend a lot of money with players. So it's that kind of profile that we look for. And Dorgu, he has the ability to play in this team to improve. Aiden Heaven, the same thing. He's young, he's left-footed, he's a central defender. So it's the right profile for us at the moment. So essentially he's saying, yes, obviously, difficult situation at the moment. But I think when it comes to the chatter about Aiden Heaven, that kind of suggests actually, no, he's going to be going into the first team playing games. He kind of acknowledges we don't have a lot of money, so we've got to go for young and we've got to go with cheaper, affordable. But also this isn't a situation where he's being completely dictated to. I think there's been a lot of misconception, hasn't there, been about transfers under Ruben Amorim, because obviously it was quite extreme under Erik ten Hag and it felt like he was kind of dictating a lot of who we went for. Obviously, he had the veto, which again got so overblown because I think every manager has a veto, even if it's not defined. Just in the case of Erik ten Hag, it was defined in his contract. Like you say, it's not like players just show up to the training ground and they go, "Who's that? Oh, we signed him." What? I had no idea about that. I mean, these are meetings that go on every day, multiple times, and the players talk with their head coach on Zoom calls and agents and all that kind of stuff. It's a constant thing. So of course it's a committee thing, but maybe instead of maybe Erik dictating that process, it is a bit more of a collaborative process than it was previously. Yeah. Perhaps maybe that's what it is. But he's saying, look, financially we are where we are. We're looking for a certain profile of player and I guess a certain price point of player, but also it's his decision. And it's his decision not only who they sign, but also who he plays in his team as well, critically.
Yeah, I think it's really strong what he said. Because there's one thing where you can say, oh yeah, he's saying that because he's got the back end and all that. That's fine, that's great. But he's also enlightening us to what's happening behind the scenes. And the way he's speaking with such clarity, you pretty much believe it to be that. And we've come away from, like I said, Erik just had his fingerprints and his hands over absolutely everything. There wasn't hardly any signings, even down to Mazraoui and De Ligt that we've still got. There wasn't hardly any signings that happened without sort of, you just go, the ones that were either his players. So you're looking at Onana. Let's just look at his signings. Onana, Anthony, Eriksen, he had him when he was trying to get back training and stuff. Malacia, Dutch, Leacher, Xerxes, Dutch, De Ligt, Mazraoui, had them both at Ajax, different points, or same point, shall I say. Who else? You look at even like a Mason Mount, it was like, remember him when he played at Vitesse, so I remember playing against them. Do you know what I mean? There were so many. It was only really like Casemiro, Weghorst, Dutch,
Yeah.
It was only really Casemiro, Højlund.
That didn't have some kind of tie back.
Really, Is that it? Is that it? It's only them two. Are we missing anyone here? Sabitzer, That again, the
Yeah,
loan probably didn't
as a
play with
loan.
him or anything.
Amrabat, of
Amrabat
course.
was his boy.
Yeah.
Gave him his debut, didn't he? When he was like 18 or something
Yeah.
at Utrecht or whatever it was. The Bravka, that don't really count.
Although I will
do you know what
say
I mean?
it is a little bit humorous because because the winter window isn't really comparable to summer window, and certainly the journos, whether or not this happens, we shall wait and see. But they're doing it again because it's like United are all but signing Kenda in the summer from Sporting. Done. And they're going striker. Get me Gyökeres. Get me Gyökeres, and you sort of go, well, let's put the base.
But I feel like this time round though, with those two specifically,
they're good. People are like, they're good.
Like those ones are certified. That's not like, I know Quenda's only like 17, 18, so it is potential. But because we've seen like fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? And Gyökeres is like, well, Arsenal were interested. Fucking, Chelsea and just big people are interested.
Arsenal were interested in Martinez. Arsenal wanted Martinez.
Yeah.
They got in the end. They got Yuri and Timber in the end.
So
exactly.
But then we like Leachard. It's not like every single one of them was a mistake. Not every single one. But the large part of what we're talking about is his imprint on it. And that's why it's refreshing to hear back to what Ruben's saying. He's saying, of course, I have final say. It has to be like that. But we agree a profile. We sit down and say, right, how do you want this team to play?
Oh, I forgot that as well. Yeah, with the Hoyland one, where the link, he signed with Ten Hag's agency just before he signed.
And then he came. I mean, no comment. No comment.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Bro. There is a link.
Said, that's what I'm saying. And there was all these, what do you call that word again? Conspiracies. Oh, that means it's this. But it's hard not to go, that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? So our point stands, there's enough evidence there for us not to be gaslighting. Like this is the truth, right? Yeah. So when Ruben sort of speaks about the club basically pivoting and away from that to say we have a proper structure now, we sit down together and say this is the profile we need. Let's just make up those hypothetical conversations. I need someone powerful. I need someone fast. I need someone at least 6 foot, whatever. They need to be good on the ball. They need to be this. They need to be that. And then they go off and find those types of players, and I have final say. And actually, that's the Amorim bit. I think more so to the players part of it. I think it's really interesting to look at Aiden Heaven and Dorgu, because he basically says in this moment this is what we need. And actually, more so the Heaven one. I mean, I was just looking up at his stats from this season. All he's played is 10 minutes in the first team against Preston North End when Arsenal won 3-0. He played 10 minutes, so he must have just to get his appearance. And then after that, he was on the bench against Monaco in the Champions League. Other than that, playing in the Youth League. So I don't even think he's been on the bench in the Prem. Has he been on the bench? No, not even on the bench. Oh no, he's been on the bench 3 times in the Prem as well, actually. So we saw from Arsenal that in the summer, it's someone they're trying to have a look at for men's football now. Like you're getting a start at the SoFi. It's kind of like when Cobby was starting for us the year before. You're going, bloody hell, what's going on here? Is the plan? And they might, I know, and clearly they've seen it as you've got Gabriel and Saliba there, so it's a different cold vibe there. But Man United have seen something, and the fact that he's gone into the first team shows that they're having him.
I saw something on social media yesterday, and they were sort of saying that clubs like, I think it was City and Chelsea, they're basically expecting more of this from Manchester United, and they think that a big spearheader of signing those players from the academies is Jason Wilcox, because of course, like you mentioned before, he was academy director at City, knows that level very, very well. And you can also see why, like a Southampton would have wanted him as a director of football for that reason of for the youth players. So we'll go and get.
I worry a bit about big transfers and stuff. He's not really. That's not really what he is.
Exactly.
But the youth,
but then at the same time, he can kind of be like, well, I know who the best players are at that level. I can try and get him in, and then in a couple of years' time, either they play or we sell them for a lot of money, and it's pure profit, and that works out in our favor. So his fingerprints are all over those kind of ones. Like you said, I think with the Heaven one, if Leacher hadn't got injured, we wouldn't even be really having much of a discussion about, does he come in now straight away? We wouldn't be having, and I still don't think that's going to be a case. I think the answer is, it'll be like Mazraoui goes left centre back, or Maguire goes left centre back. It's not just going to go straight in or anything like that. But he'll play a couple of games between now and the end of the season, no doubt about that. And what is really interesting is that for next summer's preseason tour, there's going to be a lot of really exciting young players that a lot of people are going to want to look at and go, I'll tell you what, I wonder if they're going to be good. It's going to be.
Do you reckon they'll all be on tour?
I would have thought so. I would have thought so.
But it's a
And
tour this time when the whole senior team is there though as well. Because there's no European competition. There's no competitions this year.
And we're saying that players are going to be leaving, whether or not they actually do or not, time will tell. But it's kind of like those young players. If I was one of those young players with the way the season's gone now, with the transfers out, some of the injuries, and with the tour, I'd be like, I tell you what, I've got like a proper chance to get into that first team actually at the moment, And we have seen in any club in the Premier League or just around Europe, sometimes it's not even necessarily a talent thing with young players. A lot of young players are really talented. You don't get into academies of Premier League teams, top teams, without having something about you. Sometimes it's just luck. Just luck, right time, right place. Someone goes down with an injury. Someone gets suspended. Something happens mid-game. I wasn't even meant to be in the squad today. And then I come on the pitch and then you play really well and they go, you start the next game. They were saying about Lewis Skelly at Arsenal. They were going Calafiori. They signed him in the summer to play in that position. Now they're like, he's had a few injuries, gets in. Now it's like can't get in the team. Marcus Rashford.
And then when you do get the moment, when you do get the chance, what happens in them games? Like say he came in and had a couple of stinkers and Arsenal lost. The narrative straight away with Lewis Skelly is that's why we got Calafiori, a bit more experience. That's it. But because it's win-win, Haaland, this, that, it's hang on a minute, Thomas Tuchel, you watching this? Like, you know what I mean? And it's the same with Kobe. When Kobe came through, to be fair, then there's another way round where you go, that was always the plan. Because some players you go, right, nah, he's ready. We need to let's lay out a 12-month plan. So, it comes from Carabao Cup final when Ten Hag's got his arm around him saying, you see this? You see this, kid? You wait here. It's one thing you have to give big up Eric Ten Hag for and that cohort of staff because they mapped out what to do with Kobe Mainoo. And bloody hell, they mapped it out and then stuck to it. But then he had the moments in the condensed period of time, which you can argue sometimes is a bad thing because it shoots him right up. England's midfield answer. Man United built the team around him, won us the FA Cup winning goal. Do you know what I mean? So then you go, probably didn't want it to go this far because now they've probably pushed him too high. Then he comes down a little bit because the team and different positions, then he has to find himself again, which is really difficult. But you're right. It's so many different ways that young players break through. It's either always was meant to be like that. It's either they're so flipping good, a Yamal or, Rooney and Owen and, young Henry or whatever, who you go, fucking hell, Jesus Christ. You can't, Mbappe, when he's coming through, like this kid at Monaco, you go, what the heck, what on earth is that? So you look at someone like even Haaland. Like I know he's taking his time, Salzburg,
but
Dortmund,
he's always been a phenom,
everywhere you just scoring ridiculous goals. So there's that, and then there's like you say, weren't meant to play today. A few problems in the mid. Came in a crisis actually. The team before 13th thought, why not try it? And he just took to it like a duck to water.
Rashford's the best example. He's not even meant to be playing or in the squad or anything like that. Pre-match injury was it's Martial in the warm-up. Then he's playing in the Europa League. The next game's against Arsenal. He scores twice against Arsenal as well. And then you're a made man after that.
Then the next game he retired Di Michaelis, didn't he? Was it that third game?
And then he was scoring at the Etihad, through the legs. Like so it's just again, and those things, it is sometimes just luck. It's about luck, taking your chance, taking your opportunity. Football sometimes is about what ifs in that regard. So with these young players, with Aiden Heaven, who's to say he doesn't come in with he's definitely not ready. He's got to struggle today. And if Aiden Heaven came in and he did well, we'd be like, right, carry on. We did it with Bayern Deer. Bloody hell. Bayern Deer, terrible. They played in the FA Cup. We're like, play for the rest of the season.
And then he's getting more games from it as well. Man's playing in Europa. Do you know what I mean? He'll play tomorrow. He'll play tonight. Sorry, you'd imagine. Off the back, he was the hero in the last. He has to
exactly. He's the reason we're through.
yeah, absolutely. So he'll definitely play tonight. So you start to look at it from the transfer perspective, and Ruben basically saying, to summarize, he's saying, A, we ain't trying to do what we used to do. B, I do have a lot of control. C, it was my decision to let those players go. The most important thing is I can sit here and tell you guys the reason why Marcus Rashford's not here, the reason why Anthony's not here, the reason why
I can give you the exact quote.
There you go.
Of what he said. I can give you the
I thought
exact
it was
quote of
really
what he
good.
said about Rashford. He says, what I say is I couldn't put Marcus to see the way you're supposed to play football and to train the way I see it.
Stop
And
talking about him, Owen.
and sometimes you have one player who is really good with one coach and the same player with another coach is different. I just wish the best to Rashford and Unai Emery. They can connect because he's a very good player. Basically just going, didn't work out between us two.
Exactly.
He also said, the important thing is that I'm here saying that was my decision. Like Terrell Malacia and Anthony, it was my decision to do these loans and to keep some players even without any transfers. So I'm just here saying that was my decision. And he was also, when asked about Rashford, he said, Marcus is in Birmingham now with Unai Emery, so you can take these questions to Birmingham. He did seem a little bit relieved to not be having to talk about it.
That is
Again.
fully like, listen, nothing to do with me anymore for this little bit. And this is the bit where I've seen a lot of Villa fans online talking about it yesterday, where they're starting to understand, not taking it very well, but they're starting to understand what it is to have somebody like Marcus Rashford at your football club. No disrespect to Villa, huge football club. So I'm not going to do the whole Marcus Rashford's bigger than the whole club, mate. I'm not doing that. But in terms of this type of player, whether he's warranted to have this status or not, just the noise that comes with Rashford, the player, the brand, welcome to it, Villa fans, because there will be days where you guys win some big games, some important games. If Marcus Rashford's on that bench and wasn't part of that win, them journalists will be saying to Unai, yeah, we know you've just got right through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, but you didn't start Marcus in either games, home or away. What's going on there? And you'll get annoyed. You'll be like, just talk about Ollie Watkins was just amazing. Morgan Rogers, did you see that goal from the halfway line? Why are you not asking about that? And I've seen some of them go, oh, please just stop. Just stop. That's not how this thing works. Yeah. You got Marcus Rashford, yeah. You got M9 now. Yeah. You got MR9. So that's how it goes.
I saw this, and you're right, because let's not be honest. Like the currency of football is Manchester United. That's what it is. It is gold dust for getting attention. Because I saw, and I know it's look, this is TikTok, and you could say who cares, but there were side by sides of Aston Villa's TikTok views and Real Betis's TikTok views, right? And on all of these different TikTok posts they've got, they're couple of 100,000, whatever. Everyone with Rashford, it's like a million plus. Real Betis, same thing. It's like, maybe a couple of thousand, maybe that. Anthony's reveal, 1 million plus for Anthony. Reveal.
Mental.
And everyone goes, that is the Manchester United effect. Sometimes
100%.
It's not even necessarily the player that they are getting. It's the fact that they're getting them from Manchester United. And it's kind of like what we do the same. Like in the transfer windows, we'll get linked to a player from saying, it's a bit like with Vlahovic. We're getting Vlahovic. We haven't watched him for like 12 months or anything like that, but we just say Vlahovic. I remember that name from the past. Oh, and it's Juventus. He must be good. He must be good because I know the name and it's from a big club. You don't know the minutiae of what's actually happened during their spell.
That's why you need Super Kev Hatchard to go, what's actually happened in this time?
Exactly. So all you hear, maybe it's a bit different with Rashford, obviously Aston Villa, because it's still in England. But you're not watching United every single week, so they're not. They're like, we're getting Marcus Rashford, getting Rashford.
They can't believe it.
Real Betis, we're getting Anthony. They signed him for like 100 million euros a couple of years ago. It can't be. I might not worked out, but he's got to be good. It's got to be good. And you go, you have no idea, like you said, what you're getting yourself in for. And
the media
and the attention and scrutiny.
They are because let's be real. The media want this. The story either way is brilliant for the media. If Rashford goes there, like I said, is zipped up like this on the bench. Ollie Watkins is getting starts. He can't get Jacob Ramsey out the team, and all of a sudden it's not looking great. There's a media and a lot of people that would love to see Marcus Rashford continue to fail, and so that they can be proved that, see, told you, bad egg, mate. Look at his career down the pan. There's that waiting, and then there's problems. Man United, they can't wait. Ruben Amorim continues in 13th place while Rashford has 6 in 5. Do you know what I mean? The story's there. Then there's also, for Villa to do well from this. If Marcus Rashford starts doing well, you start putting him, doing the celebration for the match-winning goal against Spurs, or you played against whoever in the league and you more points, and you're chasing top 4 and Champions League. He bags it under the lights in the whole end. You know what I mean? And Doug Ellis stand all that, doing all this, mate. It's a whole different. Their media, their clicks, their likes, their engagement. if he, just my opinion, if he gets an England call up while on this loan, like the noise that could be for positive for Aston Villa. So they have to take it. But back to Ruben, he's basically saying, not my problem anymore. Take these questions to Unai.
And
it's
also,
like, you know what I mean?
It's quite interesting because he kind of accepts almost a little bit of sort of failure in the fall apart of the Rashford relationship there, because he sort of goes like, look, some players get on with other coaches and sometimes with other people it doesn't work out. And it's kind of, and like he said, he goes because he's a good player. And he kind of just acknowledges there that, no, between me and him, it just doesn't work out. Some of the things maybe he's doing, I can't tolerate. And maybe I can't manage him. Maybe he's throwing his hands up a little bit. I can't. Maybe other people can. Maybe Unai will be able to do it. Eric was able to for a little bit, not totally. Other people have been able to do it. I can't do it. So because I couldn't do it, it's my decision that he's gone. I failed. And I think that's quite interesting for him to openly admit. And it's kind of what he says when he's talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy here. And there's one quote here, Flex, that I just know it's one of those that's going to get a lot of people talking. So when he was talking about keeping Ruud, he says, I could have kept Ruud because it was a good thing for me or a popular thing to do, but I will not put Ruud in front of my guys, no matter what. Then I had to put a person like Ruud in the end of the hierarchy of my staff. I don't think that was fair to Ruud. But he then also says about Erik ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy, they were better than me in training this team. It's really hard because I'm a really proud guy, but I take this normally. It's not awkward. Now, when you come out and you say, they were better at training this team. And it goes back to kind of, this is where I bring up with the Rashford point there, where he's effectively saying, look, some of those players, they were better at working. They could manage them. I can't manage them.
I'm doing shit.
That's a risky thing to say.
Because you could argue, because you could argue saying, you're being, well, we brought you in to do this and you're saying you can't do it. That's your job.
That's
your job.
That's a risky thing to come out and say, of being
but I think because it's so bad,
I can't manage Rashford and I can't manage some of these players. So it's like, but he's also then confident going, but it's my decision whether they stay or go. He's going, I can't manage some of these players, but also it's down to me if they stay or go. So they're going to go because I'm staying kind of thing, which is a bold strategy.
It's kind of, but this is why, you say it all the time really well about talking up both sides of our mouth, because essentially we're getting a manager that is doing, I'm not going to say the Lord's work, but he's doing the things that we've been calling for. We need a manager to come in, get rid of this crap, get rid of it and build your own thing. Eric got rid of whatever he got, built something else and look at it. So now we're like, right, someone else come in, do it again, do it in your way. This guy's got a clue. Because we all said Eric was amazing when he first came. Young coach in Europe. Look what he done with Ajax. He went to the Bernabeu. He schooled them. He schooled Chelsea. He schooled Spurs until the last minute. Look at that European team with them players, the technical football, Ten Hag ball. We all said it. Even some of the staunchest Erik ten Hag out people by the end. At the beginning, and I'm not criticizing this for this, I'm saying this is how big perceptions can be when you start versus I dare you to keep losing vibe, especially if you spend money on the squad. So I'm not saying, show where are you? Flex wants Erik ten Hag back confirmed. What I'm saying is that when he came in, there's all this buzz, a young up-and-coming coach, one of the most hotly tipped in Europe, this, that, and the other. He's charming. And, I know Eric's communication skills are not the same as Ruben, but it's very, and then, even from the communication to start with defending him, the media's onto him because he's not talk how they want him to talk. Shut up. We know about the tactics. Then as soon as he says, can't play the Ajax where you don't have them players, go, interesting.
Interesting. There's turning points, isn't there?
There were turning points. Then it was, ditched his philosophy after Brentford, never went back. Interesting. Yeah. Then it was spying all these types of players that we spoke about earlier. Then they don't work. Interesting. Then there's our worst ever season, finishing 8th, and now it's obviously gone on to be worse. But so all them things happened. So with Ruben, we pretty much do want someone to just be honest. They got a better tune out of that squad than I did, but I'm not having that squad. That squad's not. And good.
Also, as well,
I'm getting rid of it.
He is saying the thing that a lot of us fans have been saying. When it's like, basically, these players are shit. I can't work with them. You know what I mean? Like, we know we're like, well, But surely they have to get more. And I put myself into this as well. Surely you have to get more out of them. Surely they're better than this. They must be better than this. Effectively, he's saying, look, maybe there are some managers, but maybe a bit like Ruud. Ruud could get something out of them because he was asking them to do just the fundamental basics. Stay compact, stay tight, 4-4-2, get as tight as you possibly can. And it wasn't good football. Anyone that tries to sort of, revisionist history that was good to watch, because it wasn't. We got more results, so I guess, fair enough. But, it was not good to watch. Some of those games were terrible, terrible to watch. Even when we drew against Chelsea, which we were shocked about, it was a terrible game of football.
Awful
game. And it's interesting to basically be like Amorim effectively saying, look, I'm asking them to do a bit more, something a bit more maybe complicated. They can't do it. They're rubbish. So other people might be able to get more out of them because they're maybe more willing to change to them and basically dumb it down. But I'm not willing to do that. Therefore, I might not get as much out of this group as maybe others could. But at the same time, I'm not going to change. My tactics are not going to change. The only thing that's going to change here are some of these players, because I don't think any of them are very good. I mean, look at the stuff he said. It's the worst Man United team ever. Other people can get more out of these players than I can. Some players can work with these individual players. I can't in Rashford. It's my decision whether they stay or go, i.e. they're going. He couldn't be more open and obvious that he doesn't like some of these players, and he doesn't like working with some of these players because he doesn't think a lot of them are any good. So that's kind of the one, I suppose, saving grace out of all of this. When it got really bad under Erik ten Hag, and sometimes in these press conferences, maybe whether or not he believed it was by the by, but it's the public facing part of it, so it's just what you hear. But at points, particularly towards the end, he came across as quite deluded. You know what I mean? When you're going, if that's what you really think, if you really think that we can still compete, if you really think that we're still going to, get in the top four, you'd go, trophies. We win trophies. And you go, if that's what you really think, then you must be deluded. The one saving grace about Ruben Amorim is he doesn't seem very deluded in the sense of he knows we're shit.
No,
he knows we're shit.
He knows it. Yeah,
he knows we're the worst team. He knows these players are rubbish. But the only problem is just like you said, when does that line get crossed of you're going, how good are you then? How good are you?
You can't just. But this is what, one of my friends. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I speak to him all the time. He's an Arsenal fan. We always talk football. Very scathing of Ruben Amorim. Gives some very alternative. Said, I ain't fucking having that. What is this? What you did? What he always just go? What are you guys still giving that guy a free pass? Well, you could just come in and lose all them games. Good managers can adapt. I don't want to hear it, but maybe it's just the new age football. I don't get it. But this is mental to be what's going on and being just accepted by you lot. Just come in, losing all them games, won't change a damn thing for the players that you've got. I don't rate that. That's just his opinion. We always talk. But it is interesting. And I've seen a few people just beyond that whole, you lot are just getting blinded by charm and saying nice things and good communication skills, good style, saying things like this. Yeah, I'm shit. Mate, I'll keep losing with these lot. And we go, yeah, that's right. Say it as it is. Players are shit. And just not, like you say, going, what about you? Are you going to improve anything? When do we start? Do you know what I mean? And it's all about us holding our nerves. This is what opinions are, isn't it? We watch us game in, game out. We know the bigger issues that are at the club. We know the players inside out. But from the outside, you do get that a lot of, this guy's not had a good start. I don't care what you lot say. He's not improved one thing. You lot were talking about him like the oracle of this, that, and the other. Finally, we got this and all this, that, and the other. And what are you talking about? Where's your standard? You got no standards. And and Show says there, it's partially true, Fleck. Again, this fan base gets fooled too easily and obsessed with romanticism, constructive criticism is fine. And look, Fred says, I agree with that friend of yours. To me, a manager improves and adapts. None of this nonsense that he needs all of his players. Now, listen, it's just funny when you talk, because this is what I was trying to talk about. Probably, how long ago was it now? When was that Newcastle game? And just a little bit after that. About a month ago now, or a little bit more.
It was December 30th, wasn't it? It was right at the end of the year.
I feel like when I was trying to say, but you just got to be careful. You got to look at that bit. There is a reluctance that we can't do that. I will admit that. I do feel that, because things are so bad, it's all in that basket of like, nope, all these players are shit, it's got to go. That's fine, but you do have to. He does have to. He will have to improve a lot of some of these players. He will, because they're still going to be
it. I think a good point that's brought up is it reminds me of, because obviously, look, we're Man United fans. And for the last couple of years, it's almost like Chelsea have been the big team like this. You know what I mean? Mid-table, sometimes bottom half, whatever. And when you used to watch, because I used to say it, because I got a few mates of mine are Chelsea fans, used to watch them. I used to say, Mets just been like, fuck, you lose every week at home against this. And they'd be like, I know it's bad, but you go, but when you're not a fan of the club and you can be maybe a bit more objective about it all, you do go, what the fuck's going on? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Are you happy with that? And they'll be like, well, you know, get through to next season. But because you're a fan, like, you know, you can't dictate who you support. So you just go, just got to get through it. Got to back
up. We have to.
Got to support. Got to get through it.
No man, but then they go, no Man United team could be 15th. You can't be there. Yeah, I know, but we just you can't do nothing in the league. Got to write it off. Write it off. You can't. When was that acceptable last time? So it's different emotions, and that is the truth. And someone said here, yeah, Mark Harris. Let's just talk about questions. Let's speak, guys. Mark Harris will say, so shall we admit there's question marks over Amorim? Well, you have to say that there's loads of questions that needs to be answered that we don't have the answers to yet. He's come in absolute turmoil. So it's difficult to judge him. Very difficult to judge him because he can't get his players in. He's been brought in for this system and Ineos have absolutely effed it. So that's one thing. But then the other question mark is, can he improve anything, though? Well, we're still waiting to see that because we haven't seen that. We haven't seen any improvement.
The biggest question mark over Ruben Amorim, and I don't think anyone can actually answer this because obviously it hasn't happened, but it'll be like, say this time next season, but actually by the end of this year, December of 2025, what is Manchester United going to look like? Next season, what is United going to look? We know what we're going to look like for the rest of this season. We're rubbish, right? We're going to finish where we are in the league. But come next season, at the end of December, what is Manchester United going to look like? Is it going to be one of those things where, yep, players do leave in the summer, players come in, Ruben has a pre-season with them, and you know they're more familiar. He's got more players, he's got wing backs, he's got more tens, and we do get a striker. And we go, actually, you know what? We're better now. It was just one of those ones where planning wasn't great. Came through mid-season, we had to get rid of some terrible players, high earners, but actually we're in better shape now. Things are better.
Time will tell, exactly.
Or is it going to be one of those ones where December we're like, yeah, we did bring the players and we're just as bad. We're just
exactly.
He couldn't do it, and I think the question surrounding that question mark only got bigger. You know, if you had asked someone a couple of months ago about it, they'd have been like, next season will be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, it's just one of those things. But as we say, it's one thing to say it when people come in of just, you know, write the season off, like you say, flex, battle down the hatches and all that. It's going to be fine. But when you go through it, and you're losing and you're playing badly and the games are boring.
It's only so long you can. It's only so long, especially when you start spending money. So this bit's fine. No, it's not fine, but like you say, you get the immediate let off because you go, it's chaos. This is get to the summer, get some calm. This guy hasn't even had a pre-season. He hasn't even had time to sit down day by day, teach the players what he wants to do, go through it on the training ground. You know, it's a hectic schedule because it's Man United and he's come through halfway through. Different system, play everything. So you give him that, but like you say, but he's talking like this. He's not naive. He's saying it. I know I can't keep losing like this. Even though I haven't got my players, even though it's a new system, even though I've come in half, I can't keep losing like this. And I just, me personally, and people can laugh and say you're not ready for the rebuild. You're cracking again. I don't like when people say that. I think that we should be having these healthy conversations because if we don't. Just remind ourselves, and it's almost like therapy. It's almost like little check-ins, just literally like what we did today. So we're saying there's a few question marks still, yeah? Okay, where are we at with that? Because if we just blindly just go, just close our eyes and say, lose, it's fine, we'll be good in the summer. That is just like blinkered. Like Ruben Amorim said it at the start. This manager, you're not a bad fan for, Flex wants instant success, confirmed. You're not a bad fan for like being apprehensive about things and going, well, I'll wait to see a bit more proof. I'm still working this thing out. People want to. The manager, as soon as he got here, the first thing he said when he got here was, for the fans to buy into my idea, I'm not silly. I need to win some games. It's going to take time. We're going to have to suffer. So he told us, we're going to have to lose. It's going to have to hurt. But I'm aware I also need to show something back, and we will back him. We will back him, and we are. But it's allowed to come with some healthy conversations of, is that bit quite right? Do you think this? Do you think if this continues, what do you think that's
again,
healthy conversation for me?
There's context and caveats to all of it, isn't there? Because it's one of those ones where it's like, if let's say I mentioned about the summer there, let's say we have a summer where a lot of the players don't go and we do struggle to bring players in because of the financial situation, then we'll know like not a lot's going to change, then, is it?
Exactly.
Not a lot's going to change. And then what does that mean for Ruben Amorim? And we have done this exercise before with Ten Hag, where in the summer we were like, look, it was a bad season. It was a bad season because of X, Y, and Z. But we'll have another season. Ineos are in now. He'll get more players in. We won't have any injuries or as much injuries. Next season will be fine. And it was the same. And it was the same, and it was worse. So that's why I say those question marks, they can't be answered at the moment. I still say minimum. And look, he doesn't have a really long contract either. It's 2.5 years. And as he said, you should know by 2.5 years if I'm the right guy.
Yeah.
I think it's just a case of this season is a write-off. He's saying it himself now publicly. He cannot work with these players. And I make the decision whether the players stay or go. So they're going to go. He should absolutely get a pre-season. He should absolutely get a summer transfer window where he's backed. Back him in the transfer market, get the players in. And look, by December, we are still 14th, with more of his players and more positions. Then you would go, well, something's going wrong here. There should be at least
progress is not as quick.
I'm not saying win the Premier League or top 4. But if you're in like top 6 at that point and you're in and around it, you go, all right, cool. But by the end of the year, fine. But right now, it's just, I think it's difficult because we've been through so much in the last 18 months. It's one of those ones, I think, where it is just like, let's just get to the end of the season. If you could sim the season at this point, FIFA settings, sim to the end of the season, everyone would do it, wouldn't they? Sim the rest of the season, then you come out of it on the other side and you go, right, forget about it, it's done. Summer, start again. That's what it'd be like. And it's not nice to do because one of the worst things to do in life is wish away time because we all have limited amounts of it, right? But sometimes it is one of those ones where it's like, let's get to the end of the season and then all of this stuff just
Tabrez says Rashi wouldn't have been a star if Martial didn't get injured in the pre-match warm-up versus Midtjylland. One moment changed his whole career. Yeah, the moment for the opportunity did, but I don't think we should take away that he grabbed the opportunity. You know what I mean? But things could have been different. I hear what you're saying there, Tabrez, bro. Let me know you're at the game today as well. Mo says, thanks to your shout out yesterday. Our channel hit 300 subs. Big up. Thank you guys. Glory, glory, Man United, Football, Banter X. Big up.
There you go.
Shout out yesterday out there in India. Big up to you, Mo. Happy to play our part. Keep working, bro. Catch the Deal says, trying so hard to find a positive in what Amorim is doing. Laughing faces. And AJ says, do you think Amorim's tactics work better in Europe at the moment, but is a little slow and lethargic for the Prem? Well, it's not working right now in the Prem, is it? So he's got to say, it's less. That team he's built a Sporting. Again, he's built the team. He's built it. He's been allowed to build it. So when he's played against some of Europe's elite, they knocked Arsenal out on penalties, didn't they? They beat Man City, the other day just before he left. And there's some things there, you know what I mean? So the key is, AJ, I think, is that he built his team. He hasn't built his team yet at Man United. So it's less about that can't work in the Prem and more about he needs to build it.
I think we're better suited away from home. That's kind of been established at this point, isn't it? I'm more confident in away games now than I am for home games, 1,000,000%. And arguably, this is what's bizarre, I'm more confident in playing good teams than I am playing bad teams because we're better set up.
Used to be the other way around.
Come at us a bit now. I'm like, oh, fucking hell.
We had no against the top 6 against Eric. I mean, apart from I think City at home once, Liverpool at home once, Arsenal at home,
Arsenal at home,
first
seasons. Yeah,
but after that. Especially away, nothing. Literally nothing. Awful. Absolutely awful. Show says, back Amorim fully, but has to start helping himself. Can't continue to be negative at wing-back and football/results has to improve. Accountability, which, he says, I'm bringing in Patrick Dorgu. He's what we need right now. This is a start. He's also got his hands tied with the players he can bring in. But like you say, he has to start getting results. And he knows that. That's what he's telling us. I agree. Covishan says, adapting to players who aren't good enough isn't the way. You aren't asking the manager to adapt to Fergie's title-winning squad. If he had to adapt, he's adapting to a squad that finished outside the top 4 last season. But sometimes there's another way of looking at that, because there seems to be this thing that if you adapt one way, it also means you can't show that same adaptation to change the team again when it's right. I feel like people think that if you adapt something, obviously you've lost everything and you can't go back to something else, because it's how you view things, isn't it? If you're in a tough moment and you adapt to get through a tough moment, and the way you articulate that to your players is, okay, this is difficult. Let's do this for a bit because I want us to start winning some games. You guys get some confidence. This is not the long-term plan. Depends on the type of manager you are, because some people say you're mixing it. No, that once you do that, you've lost everything. But how do you not know that it's not mutually exclusive to you can't, as you start getting your players, then you adapt? Because we've seen managers do that. We saw Klopp do that in his first bit. We saw
Pep won a league without playing a striker. You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
he didn't have them for a while. You know,
he adapted. Like Arteta played a back 5 for ages.
It depends on the message,
and then Arsenal fans would go, play a back 4 with 2 negative. He'd come out the back 4. They'd lose a couple. Go, nope, we're not ready yet. Let's go back. So some people do that.
It depends on the message. I mean, look, Eric Ten Hag couldn't do that. He adapted, and it almost lost in the long term. It lost him. I think Ruben Amorim still is right not to adapt. And also, I watched when I was watching the Arsenal Newcastle game the other day. They had their pre-match interview of Eddie Howe, and because when the team came out, they basically couldn't tell if it was a back 3 or was a back 4. They were like, "Is it a 3-4-3 or is it like a 4-3-3? What is it?" And Eddie Howe, I'm so glad he said it, and I'm so glad I caught him saying this. He went, "Guys, it really doesn't matter." Like he's like, the people go on about the formation. Is it a back 3? Is it a back 4? It's like in the game, most top teams, it will change like 3 or 4 times. You know, at certain points, you'll defend with a back 4. At certain points, you'll defend with a back 3. When you're in possession, it might switch, and then you've only got like 2 people at the back because everyone else is pushed forward. It's like the fundamentals is no formation or no system will work if you don't have that level of intensity and commitment, because whatever system you're doing at any point, if you don't understand it and you're not committed to it, then it's completely redundant. So I think a lot does get sort of overblown about this. This is back 3, and we play for technically 5 at the back now, and that means we got 1 less person forward, and that's going to really hurt us. No, it's not. It's not about that. Again, it's levels of intensity. When we got those good results against Liverpool or Arsenal, we weren't going on about the back 3 or this, that. We were going, I tell you what, that's the level of commitment. That's the level of intensity that you need. It's that kind of stuff. The players were saying that as well. But that's also when it goes back to the romanticism about it, is that's why we can't get fooled by just a couple of good results or performances, because again, we know these players. We've seen these players before. Yeah, they got up for it against Arsenal and against Liverpool. Okay, great. But when they played Southampton, or when they played, even we won that game, or we played Brighton, or when we played, any team at home recently, that's not as Flex would say, sexy as Liverpool or Arsenal. Then we shit the bed, because they were like, that's not a glamorous tie enough for us to really care about. We wouldn't televise that one, so we're not really up for it at home on a Sunday.
The approach, but also I do think it's there's that side of it, which is the mental side. But there's also, but then you have to look at tactically, and like it's set up for an easier day. Although it sounds funny, weird, because it's a better team. The way that we set up with the stage we're at, that is set up more to soak up, hang into a game, be a bit ugly, transition, nick some moments, than be on the front foot, because of the lack of understanding that our current players have for this system. They will find it easier, like you said, against a team that will have the ball, keep coming at us. It's more of like, do your jobs, keep winning them duels, keep getting that ball out for a corner, keep knocking it out for a throw, then build into it, because the better team probably gets a little bit frustrated. There's more gaps and we can expose them. We've just seen that. We've just seen that against Arsenal twice, even though we lost the first one 2-0, but we saw some signs of frustration in open play. We went, hang on a minute. Apart from them free kicks, them set pieces, like we were all right. Couldn't create, but in play, like we were right. Like Arsenal fans were quite surprised and they were frustrated. We saw it against City when Gvardiol got that header. We went, there's been nothing in this. They've done nothing. We've been all right. Then the second half, it was the same thing. They weren't really hurting us. We're like, put a couple of moves together here. We could do something here. We win the game. Against Arsenal, same thing. Up until the red card, we're going, tell you what, there's nothing in this. And we get the first goal. We go, right, great. and then the bozo gene kicks in, and then even after that, with 10 men, we go, right, sit in. So we have seen it. Liverpool, prime example, score first again. You're like, Liverpool they had a few chances, but so have we. We're all right here. We're not scared of this anymore. This system allows us to be a bit more pragmatic, a little bit more stronger out of possession, a little bit more solid, a little bit more organized. So, but then when you're at home on the front
Crystal
foot,
Palace, we get outplayed.
and also when teams have the same system as us, because Crystal Palace play that system, Wolves play that system.
Yeah.
Southampton play that system and have been playing that system. So they might not have better individual players than us all over, but as a collective, as a unit, they've been well drilled and all understand exactly what they need to do. And that's where we've come up short. And then obviously people like Bournemouth and bloody Forest are just better than us. Do you know what I mean? So it is interesting to see. A couple more super chats here. VK says, hard truth is the FA Cup in Europa gets us back in Europe. Otherwise, we can forget about signing, but looking to sell which players can get us most fees. What rebuild if we out? What can we rebuild if we're out of Europe? I hear that. It's hard because we need to attract players. Kaiser says, hi, are you belief in Ingrid Landmark Tandrevolt? I don't know what that is. Do you know, Owen, what that means?
No, I was just seeing. I was just reading something about someone was saying that Bayern might be out for tonight, but I can't see anyone else saying that. So,
that's unlucky if he is.
Yeah,
that's really unlucky. Yeah, that's interesting. Also, Christian Falk says Matisse Tell would still like to join Man United in the summer if he can do it. After Spurs,
I felt bad for him last night. Like, he literally came on, like, and do you know what? That is such a brilliant example of adapting and actually not good. Because Ange last night, because they played that weekend against Brentford and they were a bit more compact and they were a bit more sort of harder to break down. They went, right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Anfield. We're going to be like that. And basically, when you've got attacking managers trying to be compact, their view of it is we just don't attack, basically. We just don't do anything. And they just get into the game hammered 4-0. Like, you go,
well, this is a weird one because we say to Ange, listen, mate, change it. You ain't got players, go defensive. But then it's like, don't go that defensive, mate. Like, they literally, honestly, they didn't give themselves a chance. They didn't show any intent. I don't think they had a shot on target all game. They had like 23 shots or something.
At half time, it was like they had 10 passes in the opposition half. 10 in 45 minutes.
Only Spurs can get the advice to be a bit. Just I tell you what, just sit off a little bit. Don't go all guns blazing like that. Yeah, all right, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll sit in. Yeah, I know, but got to try. You got to because you also don't think you're that team where you can like you've got this 1-0 lead from the first. You can go get a 0-0. No, you can't. You can't do that. You have to score. You're gonna have to score at Anfield.
The idea of a high line in that team yesterday, high line, they didn't even get past the halfway line.
It was the opposite. They literally camped in their bloody in their box. Like it was just crazy.
Madness.
Guys, I don't know if you lot are trying. I had this. Flex, you have met Ingrid.
They're trolling. No,
they're trolling. Okay, because I don't want to be rude if it's something like I don't.
I think they're trolling.
I don't know what it is. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm staying. Listen, I'm staying away from that. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not trying to offend no one. But yeah, that Batiste health, whatever, whatever. But that was just a throw him on in the thing and just like bloody. They got another injury. Charlison injured again. Like it's just mad. It's just mad. I just hope because for them this could be real crisis. Let's be honest. I think Villa do them at Villa Park. This version of Spurs, so they got them in the FA Cup on the weekend, only on Sunday, I think it is.
Yeah.
So
we worried about
2 cups. Yeah, because I'm worried about you. We can all laugh at Spurs because I always win things in my second year. You'll be out of 2 cups in a matter of days. So that would be typical Spurs. But then, just on their day, they can still attack all right at home. And I know what we're like, man. I don't fancy us, but. It is what it is. I really hope. At this point, I just don't want any more embarrassment. The league gone. Just if it's a shit draw, just get out of there. You know, Everton away, same thing. I don't know where our wins are going to come from. Do you know what I mean? I really
But then
don't.
we had that at the end of the year, didn't we? And then we, won a few games in a
Yeah,
row. And we were
true.
like, oh,
And we
suddenly
should
we're
have
back.
beat Spurs if we played the property. We had them on the ropes because the goals we conceded were laughable, and the
Yeah,
goals they
they were
conceded were
theirs.
laughable.
Yeah.
And when it got to 3-2, and then we was having chances for 3-3, and Forster would say, "You gotta tell you what, they've bottled it. Look at this." And then that's stupid.
Although there is a concern that they were saying with Spurs that all the injuries they've got, they think are going to be back in like a couple of weeks. So we might
Yeah.
actually face like full strength Spurs as well, which is
Well, no, because that
not
game's only
ideal.
next week. That game's the next
Well,
game.
but even that, they were like, well, there were
1
some
week.
people going, is Van der Ven going to be back for that one? So
Yeah.
knowing our luck, you know what I
Exactly. So
mean?
they'll
It'll
get
be
a few
full strength
back
Spurs,
and
5-0.
man.
We'll be like,
That's what I'm saying. We can get rinsed. I'm not even giving it because we're still in the same boat, man. I know they can always say they're a little bit worse just because they're Spurs, but realistically in the league, it's much of a muchness. We're both absolutely awful. Do you know what I mean? Let's finish off here with Mark. And Mark says, Greenwood, 20 matches, 13 goals, 3 assists, a baller. Oh, is that what he's doing in France? Yeah, he's doing quite well, isn't he? I think he's doing quite well. Right, big up to everybody. Where did we get to? Did we get to? Are you not disgraced yet? 472. Come on, peeps. Come on, peeps. Get to 500. On the way out, get to 500. It is match day. I will be at Old Trafford later on for the game. Hopefully, we just go through with just no drama, no extra time, just routine. Please, just get the job done. Full week of training as well until Spurs. So get a bit of calm. Find out who we get. Hopefully, we get someone. Oh, no, it probably won't be till Sunday, the draw in it. But yeah, just get through to the next round, guys. We're kicking off the FA Cup weekend. All eyes on it. Just don't piss about, please.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for. Doesn't have to be amazing, or just get through with no drama. That's all we're asking for. No drama. There will be a road trip later on as well. So big up to you guys. Make sure you guys check that out. I know we'll be live a couple of hours before the game starts from 6 o'clock. So yes, we're out of here, peeps. Here's to a routine evening so we can kickstart our weekend in style. Peace.